Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Chris, and tonight I checked out a bit of an older movie, catching up on some things. Not too much coming out this week, and there were some movies I wanted to watch because I hadn't seen it before, and that is the 2016 reboot. I just created a new term, requel, because that's kind of what it is. It's like a reboot slash sequel to the original Blair Witch Project. And this is Blair Witch, directed by Adam Wingard, who did the movies You're Next and The Guest, and also some Godzilla movie, which I never saw, and some other shit. But You're Next and The Guest are two great horror movies. Horror-ish. I guess The Guest isn't. It sort of is. I digress. Anyways, talking about Blair Witch today. I'm a big fan of the original. I was alive at the time. Of course I was alive. It was part of the zeitgeist when that movie came out. I was of the age to be interested in that movie. And I think it was a great found footage movie, especially at the time. And you could see the way movies have changed, going back and comparing Blair Witch 1997, whatever year it came out, to this one. And see how we're trying to match up to two different audiences here, or at least maybe the way the audiences have evolved in a way where attention spans are much lower and scares must be over the top. Or maybe it's just a choice. Because for me, this didn't work at all, and I wasn't a fan of Blair Witch 2016. So it follows the brother of one of the missing hikers from the original Blair Witch, in which he spots a video on the internet and he sees her reflection in a mirror. And so through a concoction, is that the word I'm looking for? And so because of this, he teams up with some friends and they go into the woods to search for his sister and the Blair Witch. So Blair Witch was more than just the movie, because it was this whole marketing gimmick, and it was sold on the feeling that this was based on some real found footage. It felt real in some ways. I mean, looking back on it now, of course you can see the cinematic aspects of the movie, mostly because like reality is generally pretty boring for a lot of things. So obviously we're gonna play it up. But this movie takes it to a whole new level. I guess I'm old. I think I'm getting old. Am I old? I guess I'm old. But it's just so goddamn loud. Like, it's fucking loud. And it got annoying. This movie is incredibly bombastic and over the top in ways where it's just every 5 seconds there's some sort of jump scare moment. And I think found footage movies go two different ways. They can both work. One, for me, subtle feeling of realism where we're showing you footage, or maybe it's a mockumentary or whatever, but it's the creepiness, the unsettlingness that we can relate to. These like little moments in houses and whatever, just like that's why Paranormal Activity generally works, because it's all those little moments where you're waiting for something to happen, and it's relatable because you've all lived in a house, or most of you. If you're not and you're like living in a cave, well, okay, maybe there's cave movies. But that stuff works for me when it's subtle horror and it takes a while to build to the scary moment, and the whole time you're like getting invested in this thing. The other way is your Frankenstein's Army and stuff like that, where it's just incredibly over the top and it feels like I'm sitting in a roller coaster riding through this haunted house. That works for me too. And some of that happens in this movie, especially the last act where they're in the house. It feels like this roller coaster ride, and I enjoyed it if it wasn't so goddamn loud. Anyways, I digress. It takes a while to get there, and the rest of the movie is just a retread of the original Blair Witch, done in completely over-the-top ways. And that's where I go back to this comparison of the audience of the mid-90s, late 90s to nowadays, and the way that they are trying to entertain people. And it's just like they threw any subtlety out of the window, and they made it extreme. They made it for an audience who has no attention span. They have to have a scare sequence or whatever every 4 seconds, and it gets annoying to me. It becomes so much, because half the scares in this movie are just fake. It's like a person walks into the camera, and of course they add in post some ridiculous over-the-top sound effects. And so that's one of my gripes here, is like, there's so much stuff done in post. It feels so fake. Like, I don't know what kind of camera they're supposed to be filming this on, but they have the best on-camera microphone I've ever heard in my life. It fucking is Dolby Digital 7.1 surround mix. And so like it's clear like There's so much stuff done in post with sound effects and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't feel like I'm finding footage anymore. That was what was cool about Blair Witch, is it felt real-ish. And so I kind of get it, except for I also kind of don't. I get wanting to bring a movie to a contemporary audience to enjoy. However, it throws away all the stuff that I liked about the original in favor of this over-the-topness. Which, okay, we're gonna go in that direction, but then do something new with the storyline or something different, especially if you're continuing the storyline. Why retread over the same thing in just a bombastic way? It makes no sense to me. There's some homages to the original, well, quite a few. We have the guys standing in the corners. We have, let's get the camera up right up next to that nose, and if I don't see some fucking mucus, and this movie's not even fucking worth it. Like, they need to have those scenes in here. My gripes out of the way. And I know I'm kind of bouncing back and forth here between, I don't like this, I do like this. That's the thing, like, I did like the end in a fun way. When they get to the house, it's just, it feels like a Resident Evil video game or something, where it's just an endless roller coaster of ridiculous things happening. And it's fun, and it's well choreographed. It's not necessarily creepy, it's just loud. And I keep saying it's loud, but that's the way that the scares are formulated to me. They didn't spend the time to think of something creepy and get me on edge. Instead, it's like a guy just screaming in your ear, and it's the first time it scares you because you weren't expecting it, but the fifth time it's like, stop doing that, because it's fucking annoying. So I don't know, seems like a wasted opportunity. Either continue the storyline in a unique and interesting way, or remake the movie and just call it a remake and do it this way where it's this contemporary thing. And maybe this was satisfying for viewers who hadn't seen the original, but I was looking for something closer to the original, but bringing a more fresh spin on it. And maybe that's what actually this is, and I just didn't like it. So I don't know. If you guys seen the Blair Witch from 2016, let me know what you think. We'll catch you here next time. Hey guys, it's Chris. I know some of you already have a heads up over the others because you've already liked the video and subscribed to the channel. To me, it's like a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you do that? So like the video, subscribe to the channel, helps us out. Catch you here later, guys. Goodbye.